Even without Dak Prescott in Week 8, the Dallas Cowboys have won 6 straight at 6-1 entering Week 9 of the NFL season, and now they shift their focus to the Denver Broncos and defeating Denver for the first time since 1995. Welcome into Special Edition here from the Star in Frisco alongside Isaiah Stanback, Barry Church, Nate Newton. I'm Kyle Yeomans as we continue to break down what was a 20-16 win over the Minnesota Vikings, a win that took pretty much everyone on the active roster. So I ask you guys this, Isaiah, was this the best coaching game for Mike McCarthy and his staff?
I think so. I think the things that these guys had to overcome were above and beyond what you could have ever imagined these guys would have to take care of in one single game. These guys had injuries. These guys had to go down to their depth. And these guys had to overcome penalties. They had to overcome turnovers. It was a lot for us to overcome. And, by the way, we didn't create a turnover, and we still got the victory. So heck of a job by this coaching staff and players.
Yeah, you're 100% right there, Isaiah. I mean, this was definitely one of the better coaching performances that we've seen out of this Dallas team, mainly because they were out quarterback number one. I mean, all last year, that was the thing. We didn't have Dak Prescott, and we just folded. And this time going around, we didn't have him, but we were able to take advantage of having Cooper Rush out there, know the experience of the offense. Kellen Moore calling extremely good plays out there to make this offense productive. So to me, this was definitely one of the most impressive coaching performances.
That's why you have Amari Cooper. That's why you have CeeDee Lamb. That's why you have Zeke. So these coaches can strategically put them in place so a young quarterback can deal, and he throws some dimes, baby.
The Cowboys were 4-7 in 2020 without Dak Prescott at quarterback. Now they're 1-0 in 2021. A big reason for that was Cooper Rush in the game that he had 325 passing yards. Going into the game, he had thrown just 3 pass attempts in the regular season in his NFL career. Why was he successful on Sunday?
I think, the first half he was a little shaky. First half he was a little shaky. He had a little happy feet going on. But then Kellen Moore, eased his thoughts. They got into a groove. They gave him some great options, some great concepts, and things that he felt comfortable with, and allowed him to be able to deliver some balls to his playmakers.
Yeah, I think Cooper Rush played an efficient game out there. I mean, there was a couple passes where I was like, ooh, we got lucky on that one. But for the most part, he kept control of the football. And when there was a play needed to be made, he was able to drop a dime to Ced Wilson. He was able to drop a dime to Amari Cooper. And at the end of the day, that's all you can ask for a backup.
They tried to put pressure on this young kid at the beginning of the game, and it almost cost us. But you know what? Coach McCarthy kept him calm. Kellen kept him calm, and I think the guys around him, our big playmakers, stayed calm, and he eased into his game plan and did what he had to do.
We saw a number of different quarterbacks last year, but was this the best performance from a backup quarterback you've seen, especially with the scenario that was at hand?
Yeah, comparing it to last year, this is hands down the best performance we've seen out of that particular position with QB 2 or 3 or 4 or 5.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, no disrespect to Andy Dalton, but Cooper Rush came in there. He was cool, calm, and collected, and put this offense in the best position to win the game. And like I said, at the end of the day, that's all you can ask for a backup to do is put this offense in the best position.
They practiced from the beginning of the week getting this kid ready, man, and everybody knew that they had to step up the game to give him opportunity to be who he is, man, and he did what he had to do.
And so did Amari Cooper. He was battling a hamstring injury in the second half of that ball game, but now over 100 yards in a single game for the second time this season, and he also had the game-winning grab, and also a grab earlier in the drive that kept the game alive. What has his performance been like this season, and was this his gutsy performance of his career?
He's a warrior. He's a warrior. That's what you ask of your QB. I mean, not your QB, but of your wide receiver number 1. They pay this guy a lot of money, and he's showing you every reason why they're paying him that amount of bread. This dude is a leader on the field. He doesn't have to say much. He leads by example. You've seen him playing through all these forms of adversity. He's been dealing with his hamstring all year long. He had to step out the game, put the little softball underneath there, and said, "Oh, it's time to make a play. All right, I'm your guy."
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, this guy's been a beast so far this season, and he was a beast again on Sunday. He was able to take advantage of a Vikings secondary with no Patrick Peterson out there, and like you said, Isaiah, this is the type of guy you want on your team. You got injuries, all that on the sidelines, it doesn't matter. When he steps between those white lines, he's giving you 100%, and that's why this guy's been this leader for this team and so far the catalyst for this wide receiver group.
You found the answer to your red zones. It should go up 10 points. As long as he's in now, we hit the 20, we make sure he's in the game.
Amari Cooper's found pay dirt a number of times this season, and he did find it to win the game with just 51 seconds left, 20-16 over the Minnesota Vikings. We haven't even touched the defense yet, but they had a phenomenal game shutting down the Vikings offense. But who shined most on that side of the football? We'll tell you next when we return with more Special Edition.
Special Edition, presented by AT&T, is brought to you by Ford. Built for Texas, built for you. Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Salvation Army. Doing the most good. And by AT&T. This segment is brought to you by the Texas Lottery. Play the new Gym 7 scratch tickets. There's a Gym 7 scratch ticket for everyone, so play today.
The Dallas defense achieved something in Week 8 that they had not done all year. Win a game without at least 2 takeaways, and it took everyone to shut down the Vikings to just 16 points in the 20-16 win, and the Cowboys are 6-1 because of it. One of those big key contributors in the win was Micah Parsons. Here's what he had to say about keeping that momentum going heading into Week 9.
I mean, when you hold yourself to a high standard, you don't want to just maintain. I heard, like, in the meeting last week, said when you maintain, you're like, man, I'm just this. You're going to stay there and you always decrease. So I'm never going to say I'm here because I want to get here. So that's just my mindset. And what I heard in the meeting, I was like, yeah, because as soon as you start maintaining, you decrease instead of grow.
Hearing from Micah Parsons, thanks to Nationwide. And gentlemen, he brought home some hardware himself this week. The NFC Defensive Player of the Week. First rookie in NFL history with 11 tackles and 4 tackles for loss. He was really all over the field, sideline to sideline. Has he shown, though, that he's more effective at the linebacker position than he is as an edge rusher?
I try to tell everybody. You know what I'm saying? I've been trying to tell everybody that he is more effective at the second level. I absolutely love this young man at the second level simply because he is a freakish athlete. He's smart. He's a very cerebral player, and he's a sponge. He's just downloading information. Every play he goes out there, he's learning something. He's adapting to his environment. He plays 60-plus snaps whenever he's at linebacker. When we put him at defensive end, he's playing 30, 35 snaps. So obviously we're seeing the effect that he has with him winning this award this week.
Yeah, Micah Parsons is playing at an extremely high level right now, and his ability to make an impact at linebacker and defensive end as a rookie, it's mind-blowing. And this guy's going out there, and he's basically the catalyst of this defense right now. And what makes me most impressive about this guy is his ability to diagnose plays. When he goes out there, he's the first one to arrive at the party, and when he hits you, you're either going down or you're going backwards. There's no leaky yardage. There's no falling forward with this guy. So to me, he's just been overall just an extremely impressive rookie out there.
I just think what's so exciting about this kid is every week he amaze you with what he says in his post-game shows, how he wants to get better, how he wants more snaps, how he wants to play harder, how he's going to study the film. They took away a little bit of his duties for his play calling, and that just freed him, man, and he made some outstanding plays.
Parsons is the 3rd Cowboy this season to win the award, and, well, out of 8 total tries, that's a pretty good ratio for Cowboys defenders making it to NFC Defensive Player of the Week. Now, moving on to Randy Gregory, who has won that award previous this season. He also had a forced fumble and a sack. He's just been a wrecking ball on the defensive line.
Yeah, he's being that leader that you expect. Obviously we have D-Law that's out. This guy stepped right in and really took over those responsibilities. It's going to make it really interesting whenever D-Law gets back. But Gregory is just showing you how much of a physical specimen he is and how much of a dominant player he is. He's out there playing for a big boy check coming up. He's letting everybody know exactly the type of player he is that's going to justify that payday.
Yeah, Randy Gregory's making clutch plays for this defense all season long. I mean, whenever this D needs a huge play, here comes Gregory with either a TFL or some type of strip sack. And like you said, Isaiah, he's doing this without Tank Lawrence. So, Nate, just imagine when Tank gets back on that side, it's truly going to be a race to the quarterback.
I tell you what, man, what amazes me is he making plays on the sideline. He'd be on the right side of the field. You'll see him on the left side of the field making plays down the field at the quarterback, hitting for losses. I mean, between him, Parsons, and Diggs, MVP is for one of these guys, man.
Nate, would you be scared as an offensive lineman going up against Randy Gregory at this point in his career?
Only if I was at left tackle. The other 4 positions, I would crush him. Yeah, but at left tackle, I'm staying away from it.
Staying away. All right. That's fair. You've earned the right to be confident in that regard. Randy Gregory, 5 sacks in his last 4 games, as he has really been fantastic for the Cowboys this season. But what challenge do the Denver Broncos bring to the table? Will they try and beat the Cowboys for the 8th straight time coming up this Sunday?
This segment was brought to you by the Texas Lottery. This segment is brought to you by Ford. Built for Texas, built for you.
The last time the Dallas Cowboys defeated the Denver Broncos, Troy Aikman threw for 2 touchdown passes. Emmitt Smith ran for 1. Nate Newton was on the offensive line, and the Braves won the World Series. So I guess there's a lot of things going right for the Cowboys in that regard, because the Braves just won the World Series. And, well, it's not 1995, but in 2021, the Cowboys are 10-point favorites against the Denver Broncos this Sunday at AT&T Stadium. But speaking of the Broncos, led by Teddy Bridgewater, they have a passing attack that can cause a couple problems.
Yeah, they have a handful of guys out there. Jerry Jeudy, they have Sutton on the outside as well. These guys are threats, but it really comes down to whether or not Bridgewater can get them the ball. As we're just finished talking about Gregory, Parsons, if these guys can get to him and make him move his feet, he will have some ill-advised throws. As the last 2 or 3 games, Bridgewater has been throwing the ball up there for grabs. It just depends on whether or not we're going to come down with it.
Yeah, you got to be careful with a quarterback like Bridgewater. He's the type of guy, he'll take what the defense is giving you for a while, and then boom, he'll hit you up top with something. And he does have a little bit of weapons outside, so he can do damage in that regard. So as a total, this defense, they just can't sleep on Teddy B or this Broncos offense.
Pressure. Like these 2 guys said, man, pressure him into throwing the ball, a bad pass or whatever. But I tell you, like right here, man, if we don't put pressure on him, I think he has that ability to pick us apart. 5
interceptions in the last 4 games for Bridgewater. The Broncos have lost 4 of their last 5. But he is throwing the 2 guys that down the field will have a lot of success. That's Jerry Jeudy and Courtland Sutton. Nate, when you look at these receivers, how will they challenge the Dallas secondary?
You know what? They're not what we've seen. They're good guys. They're solid guys. But if we can put hands on them, we can take them out of their route running ability, because I think they both want to get down the field. So if we put our hands on them early, I think we can take them out of their game.
Yeah, this duo isn't as dangerous as the duo we played against last week, but they still got some ability out there. You know, Courtland Sutton, he's the classic possession receiver. He has, great leaping ability on the outside. And then you got Jerry Jeudy, who's an extremely good route runner. So these guys can be a problem if we don't take them seriously.
Yeah, this 1-2 punch, they have talent just like every other team and duo that we'll face going forward. But the thing is, this offensive coordinator does not put them in situations for them to really utilize their assets. That's unfortunate for them, fortunate for us. They do a lot of things right at the yard markers, right at the sticks, and it's really going to allow for us to play downhill.
You mentioned the 1-2 punch. There's also a 1-2 punch in the backfield. Melvin Gordon, Javonte Williams, one of just 2 teams in the NFL with over 350 rushing yards and 100 receiving yards from their 2 tailbacks. And guess who the other team is? The Dallas Cowboys. But let's talk about the defense as well. The defense without Von Miller, they made the shift this week, traded him for a 2nd and a 3rd round pick to the Los Angeles Rams. And guys, is this defense underrated from what they've done throughout the year?
We can say that. Statistically, they look like they're doing okay, but the competition that they played against hasn't been that high either. They haven't faced an offense nearly as explosive as we have. I think that they're really going to be put to the test. Their strength of their defense right now is in their secondary. Their front 7 needs some help.
Yeah, I think it's going to be extremely tough for this Broncos defense. Not only did they trade away Von Miller, but their other, edge presence, their other prolific pass rusher, Bradley Chubb, he's on IR right now. So I don't see how these guys can generate a significant pass rush against the Cowboys. And I for sure don't understand or know how they're going to slow down the tandem of, Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard.
I think Coach Fangio will try to find a way, but as the game grind on, the Cowboys will slowly just take it over. Front 7 is suspect, like you guys said. Secondary is nice. They just ain't seen nothing like the Dallas Cowboys offense.
The Denver Broncos defense is 2nd in the NFL in terms of points allowed per game. So they put up good numbers, but they also haven't played, like you said, an offense that is as highly rated as the Dallas Cowboys. Speaking of that Cowboys offense, what kind of day will Dalton Schultz have from the tight end position? Can he be in store for a big one when we return with more Special Edition?
This segment was brought to you by Ford. Built for Texas, built for you. This segment is brought to you by AT&T.
The Cowboys have won 5 straight games at AT&T Stadium, and at least here in the 2021 season, through their 3-0 home start, they've outscored opponents 121-69. They have been dominant in Arlington. They look to continue that this week against the Denver Broncos. And gentlemen, you each have matchups that you have circled in this ball game. I'll start with you, Nate, because normally you like to keep it in the trenches. Is that the same this week?
Oh, definitely. We don't know who's going to be starting at that left tackle. You know, we wouldn't know if we're going to swing still over to that left tackle. It's going to be Lyle Collins, but whoever it is, they got to hurry up and decide how they're going to do it so they can have some unity and be bonded in there so they can move out on this front seven of Denver.
Who would you put out at left tackle this week?
I will put my man Lyle back at the right tackle to stay, and I will let my man Steele become the swing tackle.
Why is that?
Because I just think that Lyle Collins is a better right tackle, and I think he's the better player, and I think that my man would be more suited to be the swing tackle and Steele.
It's a big debate going on amongst Cowboys Nation at the moment. Now, this Denver Broncos team was 9th in the NFL draft in April. They selected Patrick Surtain, cornerback from Alabama, a Cowboys target at number 10. So a little bit of revenge in the secondary here, Isaiah?
Yeah, we're going to have our payback, but we're okay with Micah Parsons as well. Listen up, the strength of their defense is in their secondary, so we're going to attack that secondary by utilizing our receivers. We have our guys going all the way, not only CeeDee Lamb, not only Coop, not only Cedric Wilson, but we also have Noah Brown coming in. We have contributors on all aspects. Oh, and Michael Gallup has opened up his practice window. So we don't know who we have out there, but it doesn't matter because we're better than they are.
Now, with Lamb and Cooper almost both dealing with some ailments this week, you expect them both to play?
You know, I don't know if we'll see both of them out there, but I know one of those guys will probably step up. I can't foresee us having both of them out, but guess what? Cedric Wilson has been absolutely balling. So if that's our lead receiver going into this game, I feel pretty confident in that as well.
Yeah, and if there is a chance that Lamb or Cooper are out because of injury, might have to rely a little bit more on the tight end position because Barry Church, the tight ends, are going to have a huge role in this one. Dalton Schultz has had a huge role in this offense all year long.
Yeah, Schultz has been balling so far this year, and my matchup is our boy Dalton Schultz versus Justin Simmons. Now, this is going to be a tough matchup for Schultz because Simmons is one of the premier safeties in the National Football League. He possesses that corner ability, but he plays safety. So what Schultz is going to have to do at the line of scrimmage, he's going to have to use his strength, kind of bully ball this guy off of the line of scrimmage, and when the ball's coming to him, use his size to kind of outbox Justin Simmons out there because if he tries to out-quick him or tries to out-athlete him, Simmons will win 10 out of 10. So this is going to be a tough matchup for Schultz.
Pass catchers are going to be really thin for the Cowboys, it looks like this week. Sean McCune was activated from the tight end position, so maybe he's available to kind of supplement that because Blake Jarwin looks like he may miss some time throughout practice this week. We'll see if he's available come Sunday. When we come back here on Special Edition, will Barry Church's keys to the game change because the Cowboys won without a turnover right after this?
This segment was brought to you by AT&T. Special Edition, presented by AT&T, was brought to you by Ford. Built for Texas, built for you. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys. AT&T. And by NFL Game Pass. You'll never miss a game again. Enjoy full and condensed game replays from Week 1 to the Super Bowl. Subscribe at DallasCowboys.com/Game Pass.
With a win this week against the Denver Broncos, the Cowboys would surpass their 2020 win total, get to 7-1 on the NFL season, keep their lead aplenty in the NFC East. And we're continuing to break it down. Isaiah Stanback, Barry Church, Nate Newton. I'm Kyle Yeomans. And Isaiah, we'll start with you. What is your key to the game?
Establish, maintain, and finish the run. Wipe this entire defensive front off the map. These guys should not be able to hold our pants, and we're going to simply just run these guys into the ground.
And Barry, I mean, you had the same key to the game for every week of the season, but no turnovers, no takeaways from the defense. Is it a different key this week?
Yeah, it's going to have to be a different key. I mean, the streak is over, the turnover streak is over, and they were still able to get the win. So my key to this game is make sure you get pressure on Teddy Bridgewater. Randy Gregory and those boys, get after this quarterback, make him get happy feet back there, talk him into throwing us an interception or two, and we can keep this streak going again.
Just, stay calm, play mistake-free football, and the cream will rise to the top. You're better than this team. Act like it.
There have been some instances where the Cowboys have not had mistake-free football. You anticipate something like that happening just with your tone of voice there.
Oh, definitely. I mean, with Isaiah talking about running the thing and whatever Church talks about, hey, we go win this game.
There's so many things the Cowboys could do to win the game. They did a lot of those against Minnesota last week, 20-16, the final score. It's a noon kickoff on Fox this week. The Dallas Cowboys, the Denver Broncos, back-to-back home games again for the Cowboys in Week 9 and in Week 10. For Isaiah Stanback, Perry Church, Nate Newton, I'm Kyle Yeomans. Thanks for joining us here on this week's edition of Special Edition.